Okay, so how many times do you get to an event, you're getting your radios all set up, and all right, cool, got my comms, and the entire time it's staging is just chirping and breaking squelch, and someone's sitting there mashing the call button, so your headset or your trucker mic or something like that is just, and it's just this cacophony of noise, and by the time of it, you're just like, I'm not running my radio. We're going to talk about today how to have that not happen by using tone squelch or digital tone squelch codes. These are something that I add to all my channels that I'm running to an independent team frequency. Might not work great for like a full team or command frequency, but at least your inner team channel and everything can work a lot better and not have all that bleed over and just constantly be breaking squelch, and it just makes comms even not worth running because it's so annoying. So that's what we're going to talk about today on the channel and everything. Thank you again for joining me. My name's Mike. I'm your low-key VB Warzer, and today we're going to keep doing more on advanced milsim comms using tone squelch. Okay, what are tone squelch or squelch codes or tone codes? A lot of people just call them tone codes. There are actually two different types. You have an analog and a digital, just like everything. However, digital is not just reserved for DMR radios. You can use a digital tone code on a regular analog frequency. I'm going to talk about how to do that, but just a little overview of what they are. So normal radios, when they talk to each other, you know, you have radio A, radio B. It sends out a frequency, you hit the PTT, it sends out a frequency on whatever channel. So say we're on the channel that everybody loves, 42069. We all know we love it. This radio is set to receive on 42069. It's going to receive a frequency that says, hey, I'm trying to talk to you, and it opens squelch. Basically, it opens up the receiver and it transmits the sound. That's how that works. Now, that is what's considered an open channel, 42069, with no other parameters of how to open that squelch. Now, that's what leads to your radios going nuts during staging. Everyone's got these Baofangs or, you know, the TRIs, TCAs, whatever radio, and they're all trying to transmit at like 10 watts max power, and you guys are within 5 feet of each other. All right, now radios, because these aren't finely tuned Ferraris of radios, if you might say, they're kind of like Honda Civic-y, meaning that the circuitry and everything isn't specifically tuned to only receive on like just that frequency, especially when there's a lot of people around transmitting at high power. You're gonna get bleed over, you're gonna get just so much EM in the electromagnetic sphere, EM interference going on right there, that it's going to start opening that squelch, and that's what's leading to your radio, kind of like making that, you know, or you start sometimes even hearing people talk or mashing the call button and all that. You know, there's nothing like it, right? You're sitting there and you just hear the radio going and just breaking squelch. It's just so annoying. Because that's all these radios are operating on a open frequency, meaning they're going to take anything in that frequency range, and then because of bleed over, that's going to open squelch. You can turn your squelch up as high as you want, because that adjusts kind of like, if you want to think about it as when this radio transmits, this radio receives. Squelch is the big of a hole that the frequency can go through. I'm speaking metaphorically, but like an open squelch is you got a big hole. You can put anything through that. As you bring that squelch number up, it's going to tighten that hole up a little bit and make it harder for it to open squelch. But when you got a couple hundred people, or even just 20 or 30 people, all on radios, all within about 10 to 15 feet of each other, trying to do hey comm check, or just their radios are pinging off another radio, and it's just going to lead to all that crazy sound and interference, and everyone's radio breaking squelch. And even though you might not be able to hear a voice, you're still getting that static or that little pop that comes through, and it's the most annoying thing ever. So what a tone squelch code does, it's embedded into the frequency. So 42069, for a analog tone code, it is what's called a sub-audible tone, meaning you can't hear it. However, it's in the frequency, it's transmitted as sound, but because of the range of the human hearing, we can't hear it. All right, so that's what it is. It's called a sub-audible tone code, and that is a CTCSS code. They call it continuous tone coded squelch system. When you look in your radios, it's going to be called that too. That's how you would adjust it. Now, there's different frequencies that you can put that on and everything, so you're not limited to just one. You can pick it. Basically, the way to think about it is it's a privacy channel. It's another layer of security, or it's another layer that the receiving radio has to go through in order to open up its receiving capability and transmit a sound. So instead of just having one thing, you can have two, you can have three, so that way you really avoid that crosstalk, that radio constantly opening squelch, or that bleed over from hearing another team's radio because you're on 420.69 and they're on 420.71. You know, they're so close that these radios aren't tuned that well, or your antenna, you've got a broadband antenna that's picking up everything, it's not tuned for that specific frequency, it's going to pick that up and you're going to get that opening squelch and nasty comms. All right, so the other version of this is called a DCS, which is a digital tone code system and everything, and all that does is embed a digital frequency into a subaudible layer, basically subaudible frequency, or same frequency, excuse me, subaudible tone that you can't hear with the naked ear, but the radio will hear it and it'll allow for opening and closing. All right, analog versus digital, at all possible. If your radios have the capability of doing a DCS code, definitely choose that over a CTCS code, in my opinion. It's a little bit tighter, per se. That frequency hole is a little bit narrower and it's harder to open up unless you have that specific tone code. All right, so now a lot of people I've seen ask me or talk to it, this is not crypto. This is not cryptology, this is not encoding or anything like that. What this is just allowing is the radio to not open squelches easy. So if you are on 420.69 and you have a tone code of 61 hertz, this radio is set to receive 420.69 at 61 hertz. It will open. However, Joe Schmo over here has a radio set up on 420.69 with no tone code. No, nothing inputted into that menu setting. He will hear your conversation because this doesn't require a tone code to open squelch. However, if he talks without transmitting that tone code, even on 420.69, these radios will not hear him. I hope that's as easily as I can make it. And the same thing goes for a digital tone code. If you've got a tone code of a D38 digital tone code on this one and this one, however this one is open, it will hear your conversations fine between these two radios if it's on the same frequency. However, if this radio transmit without that digital tone code, these two radios will not open squelch. So you won't be able to hear them. So that's the big thing. It's not crypto. It's not like a lot of people call it a privacy channel, which it is. It adds another layer, but people can still hear you. So please do not think it is crypto. Crypto is for digital radios. I mean, they do analog crypto and everything, but these are not capable of doing it. And if you want to get into crypto, we can have more conversations. But for now, BB Wars, we're not using crypto, right? All right, so using these tone codes and everything minimizes that crosstalk, and it allows for just better communication between you and your teammates. So that way you're not getting that interference in between that, or picking up frequencies or transmissions from other squads, other teams. Because we all know when you get too many people on a radio at the same time, it just garbles it up and you can't understand what your team is doing. So again, it's going to further kind of, there's so much RF propagation out there right now, especially at airsoft games and everything like that, where everyone's running radios, and per se, it might be junior players, might not be just players that don't have, you know, a lot of that radio etiquette. Hey, you, this is me, or just like that. They're just like, yeah, he's over by that tree. Doesn't help if that guy's on your net and you're just trying to talk to your team. And we all know, probably if you're watching this video, you're kind of a comms nerd, and hopefully you got your team a little split up on basics of radio communications and, you know, distance, direction, disposition, about not, hey, he's over there by the tree, because we all know that helps so much. All right, how to do it. Basically, how to input these codes. If you are a guy who programs your radios with a computer using Chirp, there's a column right there for CTTS or DCS codes, and you just add in whichever one you want. Push the frequency of your radio, and you can do that. On the radios themselves, there is menu settings. Now, let me unlock this, because that you can add it to the frequency if you're just hand jamming your radio, which I know a lot of people just hand jam your radios, and it is just labeled on the Baofangs as, we find it as digital, or as TCTS, so tone code, And then you also have one where you can transmit and receive. So they'll have T/DCS or T/CTCS, and then also R. So if you're trying to do stuff with repeaters or anything like that, for BB Wars, the easiest is just put it for both. All right, transmit and receive, both the same tone code. You'll never go wrong. So, and then it is labeled T-DCS or CTCS codes. That's your analog and everything. Some even cheaper Baofangs, or I've seen some of the Puxun radios and everything. They do not have DCS capabilities. They're only analog. So your CTCS codes. But your typical UB5Rs, these guys, your TRI TCAs will do both digital and analog tone codes. So the big thing is to just remember that when you're setting up your frequency for everyone and everything, just make sure same frequency, same tone code, and you should have no problems. That should they'll crosstalk to each other and everything like that, and it'll help eliminate a lot of that extra bleed in and everything like that. On that, you shouldn't have to change anything else in your menu to turn tone codes on or anything like that. It's all operates in the regular, normal other frequency space that you're operating in, whether or not you're doing VHF or UHF. I do have another video. I'll put the thing up that covers radio basics. If I'm talking to you a little bit and you have like, I have no idea what this dude is talking about, watch that one. I go over kind of the basics of like milsim comms and everything, like using your Baofangs and everything, and how to kind of set up your net, your data, your whatever you want to call it, your commo plan. I go over that, but this is a little bit more advanced and everything. But just to add on to that, to make your milsim experience so much better, because right, move, shoot, communicate, right? Everyone, that communicate part, it's huge. The communicate part is huge. I'm a big nerd about it, and I'm just trying to knowledge exchange that info to you guys. Communication is so important and everything, and the better that we can make these comms and everything, rather than being so frustrated with your radio because it's sitting there and you're just like, F it, I'm turning this thing off, I don't want to deal with it. I've done it. We've all been there. We've absolutely all been there. We're just so tired of bleed over and the radio constantly breaking squelch, and it's just like a gnat, you know, bugging you. And you're just like, nope, no comms today. Let's avoid that, all right? This is the next step in how to do that, is adding these tone codes and everything. All right, guys. This was a short one. This is a short one for me, right? That was maybe like 10 minutes. Normally my videos are like half hour, 40 minutes of me just, you know, weaponize autisming on you guys. But simple one. Hey, if you guys watched it, try and put some tone codes in your radios. If you have any other problems or you're just not following what's going on with it, I know there's a lot of other videos out there about like actually showing using the Baofangs. If not, drop a comment. I'll walk you through it. It's very, very easy to set this up and everything like that. And if you want further in detail, I'll add another video or something like that of actually the screen of the radio and everything. Inputting them in different radios, whether or not it's even some of the different Baofangs and everything like that, they're in different menu areas, but they're all called the same thing. It's either a DCS code or a CTCS, or sometimes they call it just a TCSS code. They might be labeled a couple different things, but they're all the same basic principles of a subaudible tone code that just helps eliminate that opening and closing a squelch a million times on your receiving radio. But that's all I got. The advanced comms, trying to tighten it up a little bit. Thank you for watching yet again. If you made it this far and everything like that, I really appreciate you. Again, if you have any questions on your radios or anything like that, you see me at the field, hey, walk over. I'll try and help you out. You know, you're like, hey, Mike, do the thing, everything. I will do the thing for you. I will help you. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm not just going to do it for you, but I'm going to show you how to do it and everything like that. Until next time, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and I will catch you at the field.